This is Tony Nasca with DovNet. We're going to be talking about today the change order control module. The change order control module is designed to help you control creeping costs on a project so that everybody can see what's going on. And there's a permission system to allow those change orders to take place. If we take a project, I'm just going to take one of my work to do projects here. And let me click on this guy right here. So here's a project, and it's, a simple project. Actually, I want to use a different one. Though it doesn't really matter which one we use. They're all the same. Okay, so we have a project here, and whether this thing is $1 million project or a $20,000 project really doesn't matter. What the values are. The point of it is to, have a selling price like this, and then be able to make changes to that project, but then record the changes and control the changes. Now, everybody knows about set fixed price. And what that establishes is it establishes a fixed price to sell the job for. And if we make deviations right now, if I were to change this guy from 1 to 2, we know it's changed. Why is it not giving me a fixed differential here?
Because it's $0.
Oh, thank you very much. Yep, thank you. You're good. So we do this, we get a fixed differential, but there was no control of that. Okay.
That was a test.
Yeah, that was a test. Thank you very much. You're good. That's good. So we don't know why it changed or how it changed. All we know is it changed. So what the change order control module does is it lets us control who adds those items, and it's a permission-based functionality so that you know it's been added, 1. And 2, the idea would be to make sure that the change order was either internal, i.e., we're going to absorb any cost differentials, and external is it's a selling price change to the customer. And it allows you to do those very things. So the first functionality is to turn the change order control module on. Now, in my demo environment, I have it as a checkbox, like so. And you'll notice this change order button becomes active. Now, in the beginning, if you start implementing this module, you might want to do that very thing because you want to get used to it, 1, and 2, control. Some of your projects won't be really change orders because you have to get everything back to speed or whatever. So having it fluctuate on and off is great. But the reality is you really want it to come on automatically once you set fixed price, because you don't want, oh, I forgot to turn that module on and I should have been a change order. So it should come on, and there's a couple different ways it can come on. 1, it can come on when you set fixed price directly, or 2, when you change the status to an active job, and then it becomes on. So you can think through that as to how you would implement it. And initially, I would say you put it on demand until you're used to it, and then have it on automatically. But what does it do for you? So the simple change order would be, I need to add a part. And it would be a part that's going to make a difference to the customer. So we call that an external change order. And so now that I have the module on, if I were to do a simple A line, okay, that actually, I guess this did have change orders already in place. That actually invoked a change order to be turned on, to create a change order Now you see we've got 3 change orders here that have already been created, so this would be number 4. There are actually 2 ways to create a change order numbering wise. One, you could use this next auto up here, and you'll notice there's 3, so the next one would be a 4. Or you can use a letter, an alphanumeric character, which is 5 or 6 characters wide, and maybe it's 10. But the point is you can name it. Name it A, B, C, D, or CO1, CO2, CO3, or something like that. So you see I've already got 1, 2, 3. So I'm just going to go call this CO1. And one of the things you can do is you can, I like to use the numbering for internal change orders, i.e. change orders that are internal to us, changing parts, stuff like that, but there's no selling price difference, and use lettering change orders for change orders to the customer that will affect their price up or down. So you hit this and you say select, and then it prompts you, is this internal or external change order? And I said this is going to be external, so I'm going to say yes. And then it lets you give a title to this guy, and I'm going to say add more speakers, something like that. And you've got a note and a second comment, which you can then put comments in. And I'm going to, now that I've done this, created a CO1, I'm going to hit use change order. And now I'm going to put a description. This was an A line, so it's a description, add more speakers. Okay, now, so you'll notice on the right, it's got this CO1 editing pending. Now, if we were to print a proposal right now, that line would not be on the proposal unless it was printing the actual change order proposal, because it's not really in the project yet. And so if I add a real part, like part, notice it prompts me for the change order again, because everything's now going to be under this change order. I just shrunk that down. Normally I don't have a full screen. I'm going to use this change order like so, and now I'm going to add a speaker, JBL 4206, like so. 10 of these guys, there's my cost and self, like so. So now I can continue to do my project along the way, prompting me for the change order I'm in, and this will be EDW SIG-PS, and 10 of those puppies like so. And I can continue to add items to this change order. Now, you'll notice it hasn't affected the selling price of the project because they are not actually in the job yet until they're approved. And there's a security points for creating the change order, adding items to the change order, and then approving the change order. And in your case, you're trying to deal with return stock and things like that. Well, that would be a return to stock negative quantity, return to the project negative quantity item, so you can add it on there, but you can't actually approve that change until the mechanical part of it would be the parts physically come in and we're going to credit it back to the job. Then you approve that change order, then it reduces the stock cost of the project. Did that make sense what I just said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, in this case, we're just adding parts. I could do a negative item here just as well, or I could even delete one of these items if I wanted to, whichever the case is what I'm trying to do. Now, for this example here, if I wanted to do an S subtotal, I can put a subtotal on here, and I can do a subtotal like so, and this would be a 1. Now, again, this is a change order to the client, which is going to affect the selling price of the job. And if I want to print a quote to this customer, I can go over to the change order button over here, and I can say show change order only. And now it's just going to show me that portion of the project that's involved in this change order, and it has its pricing with taxes, etc. And if I go to print, I can print a proposal using just the change order items. And I have a change order with, our project number -CO1, and these are the items on the quote. So I have a way to actually get sign-off approval on these items. So this would be a way to send a quote out to the customer, have them sign off on the change order only, and then when the customer does, I can then approve this change order, and then those items become active in the job. Right now, as I said before, they're not, right now they're visible because we're in change order mode, but if I show the full project like so, they're back to being not part of the job. They're just as a change order, not approved yet. And one thing I can't do is I can't order these parts right now. So if I try to press F5, well, this credit card's got no credit. This is another. Let me turn that terms thing off. So heading section. I was doing a test with this customer for a different customer a minute ago, and I had a credit thing turned on. So show customer, edit, and let me get rid of this no track problem. Get rid of that credit problem, and then go back to here, back to our project. And if we go to print, oh, we were trying to do a F5
Order.
Yeah, well, we got to leave the project and come back. So let's go leave the project and come back. Sorry. I think it was one of these projects here. Of course, I got goofed up there. Sorry about this. And it was this guy right here. Okay. So again, we've got our item. If I try to order this item like so, it's going to tell us pending change order, and it won't let us actually order the item. We can't allocate the item or anything until it becomes an active part of the project. Now, you can have multiple change orders within a project too. So I could start, while we're waiting for this approval, we could go down and make another change order regarding some other component to this project. Any questions so far? Okay. So how do we approve the change order? So what we do to approve the change order is we go to the first line of the change order and we click on change order, and we put in here a approved change order like so, and I can put, okay by client. Or if they give us a change order, a quote PO number for that particular portion of the project, that's fine. I will tell you that putting the PO here does not end up, visible in the project PO number field unless you actually put it there. And you can put little notes here. Tony said to do it. Tony said, okay, something like that. Now, when you approve this guy, click continue. Then what happens is you'll notice now these are no longer pending, one, and the fixed price and the selling price of the job have been affected by the project, by that amount. Okay? And additionally to that, if we go to the change order screen, we have a list of change orders, and you'll notice that now we've got, these were the original change orders that were in the project, and then here is this one we just added. And you'll notice what it does is it gives you the original selling price plus the change order and the new selling price. And then you see the cost changes associated with that change order as well. So you get a nice log of what's happened with this project. That thing.
Now, is this where you would do dollars to accounting if we were gonna change it on our, work in process?
Well, I forgive me, I don't remember your world and your procedure.
Yeah, extended data.
Yeah, okay, so,
Extended data, and work in process?
yeah, that's right. Okay, so extended data, yeah, you'd have to come over here then.
Yeah, I think so too.
Oh, when you change fixed
The width,
price,
right?
it automatically changes?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, now, well, yeah, it will get refixed. I think we'd have to check that out here. Where total change orders? See, right here, this has got the original figures, actually.
Yeah.
So there's the change order tab.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I kind of abandoned this area of the program because we're not using this as the we're not using this section down here for the manual change orders. So I abandoned I abandoned this section because we're using the whole different now what do you guys do? Oh, you do get dollars down here. This guy. This is what you get.
Yeah.
Okay, that reseated those figures there. Okay, fine. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So they're showing the tab now? In the change orders tab?
I don't think so. I don't think they will show up here. I don't think that they're not showing it because we're not even using.
Not a big deal.
Yeah, we're not using them because we're using this whole change order screen over here. So, yeah,
Sure.
This is the official change order screen. Now, one thing that did not show up here, which I didn't, I may have a note turned off here. Let's see, setup. There is a prompting, there is a checkbox that can be turned on that will beep at you when the project has pending change orders. With the idea being that you don't want to like go down the billing road because we've got some change orders pending, or know what the pending change orders are so that you're not surprised by something that's happening in a very large project. So it actually looks in the pending change order screen, looks in this screen here for you automatically and look to see if there's any pending. It tells you there's pending change orders. The other thing that can be turned on is an email notification when a change order is approved, so that, you know, if a project manager is waiting for that change order to be approved, it can be part, like you get allocation messages, the same messaging system will activate once a change order has been approved. So there's a couple notifications that happen that can be turned on. One, pending change orders are available on this project, and two, they've been approved via email. Now, I'll stop, ask questions. Go ahead.
I don't know if I have any questions yet.
So the next type of change order then is a internal change order, where it's not going to affect the selling price of the job, but it might affect the cost of the job. So in the case of this guy right here, we have a 270L, a 270, and I'm going to swatch out with a 270L. So I can either insert a line here and put one right next to it, or I can put it below it. It doesn't really matter. But the point is that if I were to go ahead and F11, okay, insert a line, and I were to go to delete this line, so I'm going to hit the delete key, okay, And that creates the change order functionality. And then we would use, in my example here, I'll say internal, and this will be swap, 270 to 270L, something like that. And then you hit the checkbox to save it, use it. So this is a pending delete, like so. Okay. And then I do a P, and I'm using that same change order, EDW SIGA 270L. And I'm going to put one of those in. Now you'll notice the cost is higher and the sell price would higher, but this is internal change order, so I have to keep the price the same. So 52.73, so that in fact, well, of course our margins are ridiculous here, but you see what's going on is your cost may go up, but the selling price has to stay the same because in fact this is going to be an internal change order, no cost change to the customer. And again, if I were to hit the print button and do a proposal like so, it would show us what's going on, which would be a change order for, oh, I didn't show the whole project first. You got to show project. Change order, show project only, and then print and proposal, like so. So in this case, we have we're crediting one of these puppies out, we're adding this puppy in, and then we're wrapped around the L. But there's your credit and return. Now this would be internal, so maybe the customer doesn't have to sign off on this. But this is how you get a credit, revert a part swap. Now I'm doing a part number swap, but if the scenario was a quantity swap, it still has to zero out to be a $0 change order to the customer one, whether you're adding and subtracting whatever that is. The net result is $0 to the customer, that thing. And go ahead. Question?
No.
Okay, good.
What if you have a lot of negatives but no positives? Or what if you have a lot of positives that doesn't affect the job amount, but it affects our cost?
So it's
So it doesn't even out.
yeah. So again, if it's no change to the customer, then you zero out the selling price.
Okay, so keep the cost in there, but zero out the selling price.
Exactly right. If you're eating, it's just like you're doing outside of the system. You're eating a part, then you're going to eat it. So it's an internal change order to the project. The customer may not even see the fact we had to add it in there. So it's just a zero selling price. That's all. Simple.
So if you did negative part and it's minus 1,000, or it's zero actually to the extended, but the cost, would that show up in the cost part and change the margin?
Exactly correct. And that result would be margin goes down. Cost goes up, margin goes down.
So you accept that. Well, I realize, but I'm just saying, would it be reflected here?
Yes.
Because you'd have to get dollar, or would it recalculate it? Because the price is fixed, will it recalculate it? But then you have to, when does it recalculate? When you accept it?
When you approve the change order. So right now the costs are reflective of this $52, and when I approve the change order, this $3 difference is going to affect this puppy down there.
Okay.
And it shows up in the report, so if I do this, and now I say, okay, approve, like so, and okay. And so now this cost went up. This cost went up. and it shows up under the report. So over here, if we were to look at that change order, list change orders here, you would see here that our cost went up, positive cost.
Mhm.
The price stayed the same, selling price stayed the same, the cost went up. That thing. The other report,
So
go ahead.
Anybody can go in and make these change orders though, right?
Well, right now, the answer is there's a permission. There's at least three permissions. One, there's a permission to actually create the change order, i.e., this button and this button is one permission. That says
No.
Tony could create the change order. There's another permission to add items to the change order. And then there's a third permission to approve the change order. So you can actually have three people involved, two people involved, and you probably don't want one person, only one person involved. So you've got that control.
So is there a way in project systems that once a salesperson creates a job and we fix the price and it's made, that we can make it to where it's not allowed to make changes from anybody besides?
Yeah, we would. There's a security point. There's a security point for unsetting fixed price. So, see right here, 240. You take away 240, then you will need to either know the password or you will not be able to unset fixed price. So that's part of it. You would take away unset fixed price, which is what this is. It's prompting you for the fixed price password. If you don't know it, you can't unset fixed price.
Okay, but fixed price then locks the line.
Yeah, once you set fixed price, there isn't a restriction to fix price the project, but there is a restriction to unfix the price.
Right, so can somebody still edit lines?
No, once it's fixed and you turn the change order module on, the answer is no.
Okay, but to back up, let's say you don't have a change order module. They can still edit the line.
Yeah, they can still edit the line unless the other thing that you could do, which you may or may not be aware of, is this concept of lock project. Lock project. I don't want to muddy this recording up. Let me pause this tape for a second. Say what your problem is. Make sure we're covering all the bases. Sorry.
Okay. The problem is that when a job is created and a salesman comes back and they have parts they forgot to put on or parts that they want to return, they're going in and they're changing all of these lines. They're changing everything to make the fixed price still the same and the cost is close to what it was the same. If they're putting negatives on these projects, it's coming back when it gets billed like it's an inventory. Well, most of the time, that's not the truth. We're not even getting the parts back. So or when they're adding parts. See, the problem is when they're adding parts, they are adding parts onto a job and manipulating numbers elsewhere so that the cost doesn't change.
I understand.
They're removing labor.
Yeah, I understand it.
They're removing labor. So nothing's remaining the same from the time it's sold to the time it's done.
Right.
So it's not accurate.
So that's the point. That will stop. Once the change order module is turned on, nobody can manipulate this project without going through a change order approval process.
Now, what were you going to say?
They can't change quantities. I can't change quantities. I can't change costs. I can't change labor hours. I don't have the labor on this project. I can't do anything.
Okay.
I can't add a part.
You can't change the cost of the part. You can change what you charge the customer.
No, that's always zero.
Right, but how do you change the
Which
cost?
I thought I was doing wrong, but clearly that's the right way to
Oh,
go.
yeah, because you don't want the billing price to change, because that's what they agreed to.
Right.
That's why we fix it.
But what's happening is when you go into a project from the time Stacy gets it and she gets the worksheet and she creates the project.
Right.
And then you go into the end of it. They have all these negatives, the labor's changed, and all these numbers have changed. But it's not reflecting all of the parts and stuff that they're adding on for some reason. I don't know where that's happening. The only thing I think we can do is take a project and compare it from start to finish, but I don't know how to do that at this point.
And they can be.
But aren't there, I mean, I'm not saying they're not doing it, but aren't there going to be situations where that's just necessary?
Oh, absolutely. But they're also putting,
May go down.
correct,
And then,
but they're putting all these negatives in their system or in their project, and those negatives are not true because they're not here. So then they're using all that negative cost towards the new cost, and that's not the case. We don't even have the parts in our hand. 99% of the time, there's negatives, and we don't even know why or where they're at.
So that's the point.
That's what and then they're going into our inventory on top of
Yeah.
the job, cost being down.
Well, that's
When you do partial billing, it's allocating it back
Correct.
to inventory.
Correct,
Now,
because it's there.
inventory's inflated, and it's not really here.
Yes. Yeah.
so the whole point is that's the whole point of this module is if let's say that this 270 came back, okay, 270L came back, and I want to return it to stock. I want to return those costs. So the moment I try to put part, I can't put the part. So I would have to create a change order 5 in order internal change order, because it doesn't affect the selling price of the job, and this is going to be returned to stock. And I'll put that EDW SIGA -270L. And I do -1, like so. Okay. And it's of course going to be, there's our cost, and we're going to have a 0 selling price because it's a $0 change order. Okay. This has not affected the cost of this job right now. Just putting it there. And you can't do an F2 key yet. So that's the point, is you can't return it to the project until you put controls in place that the person that has the approval to do this approval sees a record of this item coming back to the project. That's the point.
So,
When
partial billing, that won't reallocate.
I can't build this line. I can't do anything with it, and I can't add lines to the project without creating the change order. There's absolute control of people not being allowed to just add items to the project.
and this isn't always for the negative. There's a lot of times our salesmen get parts that come back. They don't have a clue the technician just brought 100 parts back. So we need to be able to also put the negatives on the job when we're receiving the parts and physically putting them on the shelf too. And their job should be credited for those parts.
Well, that's
in
what
the project system.
that's what I'm demonstrating here. That's exactly the point of this conversation is I have a bunch of parts that are coming back to the job. Okay, well, I want to credit my job. You can create a change order to credit the job, and then when you physically know all the parts have been returned to inventory, then we approve this change order like so. Approve. Okay. Continue to approve this change order. Now, that project is in the job. It has affected the cost of this project. But notice it hasn't affected inventory yet, because right now we've got 0 in stock. But when I press the F2 key, like so, that's a serialized item, so it's transfer, fine. Yes. Okay, that's a serialized item, so you actually have to use the barcode to rescan it back. Sorry. Let me do one thing here. Let me just turn. You don't have that module. Let me just turn that off. Sorry. I've got a lot of different customers with different capabilities, and that would be a barcode. Okay. Okay, and then off record, back on record. Okay, fine. Okay, so now it's no longer barcode item. So click on this and exit. And if we go back to inventory now that that has been credited to the job, costs have been credited, okay? And inventory has been gone up, and there's more 1. So this gives you absolute control of adding those costs or crediting those costs to the job. Now I will tell you one thing.
Can't credit.
Yeah, I will tell you one thing. Now, you may not want to generate an invoice to the customer. So one of the things you can do to not accidentally, if you did line-by-line billing, this would be if you did line-by-line. If you did progress billing, it doesn't really matter. But if you were to do line-by-line billing, what you can do is F11, okay, and you can create a T end invoice at current line, TE. And what that does is it creates a section below the project, below where you put these credits, so that if you were to press the F4 key, it would know to not let you bill past that line. It won't put these credits on the invoice to the customer. Okay? So, what else you got? Questions? Do you want to re-ask the question? Because I think I've answered it, but if you want to re-ask it, that's fine too.
I have one for us, but it would be separate from this, I think, because it goes back to your original question, the picking list. We do a picking list before we do the order.
Before we do the order.
Well, before she does an order on a project.
We do a
Or
picking
no,
list where
before
we
she
pick
waits
from
it
the
out.
inventory. Go get it off of the shelf.
I mean, yeah, we run a picking list every day. So if she allocates something out of inventory, it's on the picking list.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think what you're saying is, why don't we do one before you do the order, and then.
Well, there wouldn't be anything on it unless you allocate it. So you have to allocate or order or receive something for it to show up on a picking. So there's one every day, and she has, we keep them for a year.
So what do you do? Go through and see if anything allocates?
Yeah.
Automatic, or like go through and see if we have those, like if you can allocate them,
Mm-hmm.
and then at that time you
She allocates them.
Yeah, so
she allocates them because
yeah, so
that's
here
how she labels them. So everything is labeled for projects off of that picking list every day.
so you notice right here, this would be a credit right here, and that's how it'd show up. I'm not looking at the
Correct.
exact project, but there's your picking list with a credit to the job. So there would be your paperwork. Somebody allocated it, and then at that point you have a credit, and it shows up on a credit here to the job as a credit. That thing.
Yeah.
And it shows the project number.
Yeah, the whole bit. Yeah. So,
But they don't show up unless you allocate them.
yeah, exactly
So if you
correct.
put negative on the top, the
Yeah.
only time they show up is after you build them.
Right, what I'm saying, that would be a total different step. Like the picking list would be a part of ordering, right?
It's a part of receiving them and, allocating and receiving them, yeah.
But at the same time, how do you know what you can need to order and what you don't need to order, because you already have?
That's what they already in stock, you don't have to order.
They walk that picking.
Can I ask a question, because this goes to the other thing?
And one more point, you are aware of this this drop down here, correct? This thing.
What is that?
And what that does is it shows you whether you have any stock on hand. That thing. Available.
No, but our stock's not right, so we physically go back and look no matter what.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Here,
Right, once a year, you're right.
not even a clock.
Twice a year, really, well,
Well, they always say a clock that doesn't work is at least right twice as
that's right.
Yeah, clock is right. What twice a day.
It's kind of a cool muscle.
What is the question? Craig had a question. Go ahead.
Well, it goes back to when we job cost, the picked items are not invoiced. We don't get an invoice from Edward.
Correct.
So it doesn't get put in the accounting system.
Correct. We
because
did that
of-
by hand.
because- Yeah, so that goes into magic poof.
Correct.
Because we did a picking list, or we created a picking list because we know it's allocated.
Uh-huh.
We grab those parts, but then from then on, that cost is not put against that.
So that's one of the things that if you're using external projects like X1, X2, X3, then they're not being attributed to this job. Now you could run a WIP report and combine them together would be one way to go. But if you do them all within this one project, and you do change orders including credits, the job cost report is going to reflect everything. So it simplifies the whole job cost process because everything's going to be in this one job. Be it, yes, they could be a terribly long job, but you'll see in this example here, there's your credit right there showing up. So,
This is their internal job cost. We don't have, we're not using, is that a module?
no, you've got this module. It's always been there. It's just our job cost report right here. This guy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is
So that's that.
Okay.
So if the internal job cost report, does it show? You said it shows if it's allocated.
that's correct.
So I mean, instead of doing it by hand, you can always just print one of these and attach it to the. Show me where you got. Oh, it's in the print screen.
Yeah, it's just print. Yeah. And notice the other thing that's going on here is it's listing all the change orders. Look at that. See? Return to stock. So you're seeing all the change orders that happened on this job and who approved them. That thing. Wow. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, that part's nice because I just went through every part by hand.
Mm.
We did when we did them.
Mm-hmm.
So and then had it.
Now the other thing.
How do you have a method of a check comes back with 10 items, so we just put it in as a change order manual and then reallocate them. Is that the process you'd recommend, or do you have some other methodology?
I didn't hear the front end of that statement. Let me say one thing before you ask the question again. One thing that you have under the change order control module is you have a listing. So if I say change order 5, I can say list of items for that change order. So I can see exactly what happened on each change order. If I do change order CO1, this guy right here, list items, I can see the items. So in this case, I added these items to that project. So you can see what change orders you did. Now, there's also a checkbox up here that says list all change order items and irrespective of the change order. So it breaks out each change order that happened in the system. Now, go ahead and ask your question again. Sorry.
Well, I think I know the answer, but I think if a check brings back 10 items from a project, the right thing to do then would be to create a change order with that project and put in those part numbers as a separate change order, and then approve it, and then reallocate it
And then,
into inventory.
That's correct.
Correct.
That's this pure example right there that I just did.
Right now, what are we doing? They just go on the shelf, and we figure it out later?
That's why they don't know what we can.
Yeah,
It doesn't know.
I'm just trying, my brain's going in a.
Well, there's one of the things here that come into play because the
my
process.
thought is, can you somehow keep guys from being able to enter in negative amounts? Is there some way to?
No, I think actually fixing the project is a good idea, because first of all, they're claiming sales.
You mean locking it, right?
Locking it.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about right there.
Right, they're gonna make their sales commission always good.
You couldn't go in and adjust it however you want to because of power.
Right, exactly, and this will stop.
Oh, trust me, I can tell you how to fix it. So can everybody here. So, you're right, but if you're locking it, they can, if you lock it, they can still
Add
add to
the
it.
lock means you can still add. That's correct. Yes.
You just can't edit.
Correct. Unless there is a backdoor to that too. If you have the security point to allow you to unlock a line, you can unlock the line. But there is a security point for a lock line, individual lock line, and then there's a security point for unlocking the entire project. But then you lose the trail. They may not care about that, but the point is it's there.
I think
Yeah. Just since we brought that up in this recording, I want to just say lock project. I want to just say for people that are listening to the recording, the concept of lock project is over here where you actually lock the lines. And this you see it puts these little C's now. And that's, if you're not using a change order control module, then that prevents the lines from being locked. But this conversation is about the change order module.
Well, Tony, you said earlier that if you add the change order module and then you activate the security, it'll lock the project.
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, all we have to do is enable several security points, or in fact, disable security points for everybody that shouldn't have it, and minimize who can approve a change order. So Craig can approve a change order. Administrative, high-level administration can approve a change order. So, but it's not the PMs. It's not the salespeople. It's somebody that's going to take responsibility to check to see that the parts are being returned to the project. That's it.
Okay.
Things to think about.
Yeah, a lot of things to think about. Off subject. So if you want to change, it's related, but off subject.
Go ahead.
I know you have a way of doing sales commission by salesperson internal, and I've never looked at it.
Mm-hmm.
How do you make that work?
Yeah, so the commission module is based on the actual hardware, and labor costs being applied to this project. So when you've got the selling price and you've got the selling cost. So you think of the editor as the selling side of this. Now, to run a commission report on this project, 5819. If we go out here to listen status, and you'll notice we've got a to be commissioned status where we move a job, from work to do through invoicing, final invoicing, whatever that looks like, and then we move it to be commissioned. And the point of that is it's a holding place for jobs to collect additional costs that might come in. The invoices don't come in for 2 weeks. So there's a time period between when the job is done and, shipping costs or whatever. So we don't do the invoicing the moment we've done the bill. We do the commissioning 2 weeks later or whatever your time frame is. But the point is, if we then run a commission report, we can run a commission report on all the projects that are in that status, or we can run it on a single project by selecting the project we want to print it for. But what that does is it gets all the costs that have hit the job, and then you apply a commission. So in this simple example here, the net on this job after costs was $8,000, and there was a 10% commission. But what it takes into account is it takes into account the estimated cost, but then the actual cost. Let me give you an example here. So let's see. So this guy had a net profit on this job after all costs have been included of $4,473, and the commission on that project was 10%. So he got 10% commission, that thing. Now, the commissions can be different rates. I'm just happen to be using a 10% commission for purposes of simple math. But if you were to take one of these projects like so and say, so let's take this project here. So let's just take this one right here. 9722. Okay, so let's just edit 9722 for a moment. So what you can do, I don't want my value report. 9722. There we go. What happens on the commission system is a heading section, and over here you've got your different, you can set up different commission structures. And like service would be none. So you'll set up a service commission none. You can also have a retail commission that's based on the gross profit, not the gross sale price versus the net profit of the project. So there's a couple of different structures you can set up. And then once you set that commission up, let me just so the commissions are set up. Let me just check something out here. So maintain sales commission system, sales commission types. Okay, so here's where your types are. And I was going to say there was something wrong because that should have been 5%, but in fact it was set at 10%. So this would be a backdoor area that normally people wouldn't get to. It's a security point thing. But the point is you can set up different commissions, even to the point where you could have brackets. If it's between, if the profit of the job is between 20 and 15%, you get 40% commission. But if it's between this and this, then you get less commission. So you can actually bracket this out. So that's a custom version of it. But you can actually set up brackets or just straight commission on the gross profit of the job. So there's a couple things you can do. And we've actually customized various different commission reports for customers too after the fact. But now that I fixed that, I fixed that commission to be 10% where it should have been. Okay, you'll notice now it's 5% where it is, and now it makes sense. So there was your 5%, and it's 5%. That thing. Okay.
Notice that it has estimated cost and actual cost.
How is our actual cost of that project?
No, I know. It's over here.
Yeah.
Can't tell me.
Yeah. So actual cost becomes real
What we put in.
when you
You know, when we're ready
for
labor.
if you were to use Project System in all its points, i.e., posting labor to the project, posting adjustments to hardware costs to the project, and posting miscellaneous costs like freight costs and things like that, then this report becomes accurate. But you have to do the work.
Yeah, that's the problem. But anyhow, and it's very complex, because we figure out time sheets to get allocated to the job, and blah, 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 blah. It's just, we go to the union report, I mean, it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
All right, guys. So that was a discussion on the change order control module. Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
All right.
Giving us more.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome. Talk to you later.